where we gather in community to receive spiritual grounding, support, perspective, and inspiration surrounding the energies of the week to come through the lens of tarot and astrology. And thanks for joining me on YouTube instead of Instagram. I used to do this pretty much every single week for a long time on Instagram. But yeah, I'm moving it over to this new home because I had an interesting experience recently. I have a Patreon, which the link to join is below, where we do private lives. But I accidentally went public live and a whole bunch of people jumped on. So I was like, okay, let's try it on YouTube instead because, yeah, I'm not like done with Instagram, but I've been very like hermiting lately. So this feels like kind of fresh and like, yeah, cool, different avenue to try. Yay! And so I'm excited. I've also felt inspired to start doing Cosmic Church again after I don't even know how long it's been since I've done it. But this is like a really important week energetically. There's a lot happening. It's the last, it's like the tail end of Sagittarius season. But also Mars is moving into Capricorn on Monday. Mars does really well in Capricorn. If I remember correctly, it's exalted in Capricorn. Mars is the planet of drive, of energy, of passion. And Capricorn is like practicality, like goal setting, like let's make it up the mountain. And Mars in Capricorn is also the energy associated with the Three of Pentacles card in Tarot, which is about teamwork, about legacy building, and about, yeah, like making plans that stick. And so how perfect that that's the energy that's bringing us up to the new calendar year. And in super support of that, Mercury exits post shadow at last. That means it's coming up to the point where it initially went retrograde. So we're done with review. We're done with like trickster messed up energy and things will be becoming a lot more straightforward from here on. And actually Mercury in Sagittarius is another tarot card energy association. It's associated with the Eight of Wands, which is the card of sudden change, of like incoming information that changes everything and sends it all off in a much more expansive direction. Hooray. That said, the moon will be transiting Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn this week. The new moon is on Friday. And when the moon is in Scorpio, it will be apogee, so that means like zoomed in. So the week does kick off. It's nice that we have Mars and Capricorn backing us up, but with some like kind of like deep, intense energy, getting us to have the realizations we need to bring that like depth of passion to the surface to be worked with. And then at the end of the week, the sun moves into Capricorn. It's the winter solstice. Blessed Yule, if that's what you celebrate. But yeah, we're doing it. We've made it through this, whoa, really intense autumn. Like, I think this was one of the like worst autumns I've ever had. So I hope you guys are all doing okay out there because what the heck has been the energy. But yeah, it's all part of what 2025 was meant to do. This was a 9-year numerologically. So it was all about endings, like wrapping things up, like preparing for 2026. So that said, I feel weird like promoting myself for the first time I'm on like a different platform. But if you're interested in knowing what 2026 holds for you specifically, I do offer year ahead readings. And I'm going to do a special where when you order the year ahead reading, I'll pull specific cards for the huge major transits that are going to be happening in 2026, namely Saturn moving into Aries, Neptune moving into Aries, Uranus moving into Gemini. So there'll be 3 additional cards to give you a specific picture of what those mean for you. And the link to my list of readings on my Shopify is also in the comments. So this week, we'll be looking into the energy through the lens of the Herbal Astrology Oracle, Queen of the Sun Oracle. There are a couple cards in this deck that I'm really intrigued to see if they come through. the Wisdom of Trees Oracle to provide some important grounding energy. There are a lot of like squares. There are a lot of squares. And Saturn energy this week, so we can use some grounding. And the Elemental Power Tarot. This one was calling so loudly to be used. This was like the deck I built the whole combo around. And so before we get into that though, the thought piece, this is actually last week's thought piece from Wee Moon 2025, my favorite astrological planner. But it felt perfect for this energy that we are stepping into. And it's called Sankofa by Belinda A. Edwards. And there's a Sankofa right there. I am Sankofa. Feet planted forward, head turned backwards, moving through space. Out of the corner of my eye, I glimpse the shimmering veil between past and future. What is ahead, what is behind, meets here, at this ghost bridge, in the glimmering shadows of time. Tell me the secrets. Spin the threads of hope, of prosperity, into silvery strands to be woven into luminous patterns of new life. Indeed. And this is this really important time of looking back over the past, preparing for the future. I was just talking about Saturn and Neptune and Uranus moving into Aries and Gemini respectively. But right now they're back in Pisces and Taurus. So like water, earth energy, creating this kind of like mud, but that's helping our like seeds germinate. So they can really break through and continue to grow over the next like many, many years, because those signs, those planets will not be moving back into the previous signs anymore. We've had lots of like, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's like full steam ahead, even as soon as the end of January and into February, which is when Saturn and Neptune move into Aries. So it's coming up. Like I was like nervous to look into 2026 because 2025 has been such a like mind F word. Are you allowed to swear on YouTube? I'm also a Pisces, so there's been like a lot of extra pressure with those planets being in my actual sign and interacting actually with my North Node, which is the point of life purpose. So that has definitely felt murky, but here I am showing back up. Yeah! But it's coming. Like the energy we've been waiting for, the like capacity for our goals to actually gain traction. And again, that's partly why I felt so called to come back this week, because Mars in Capricorn is really going to be helping that adhere. Yeah! Woohoo! So, getting the decks out of their boxes, where this is the first time I'm doing this on YouTube. I'll explain the way my readings unfold. I like using 3 oracle decks to oversee the major themes of the reading, and then the tarot deck to like flesh out the main energy. But we'll be starting with the cut cards, the initial energy. I'll keep commenting on the cards that go by during the shuffling process to lay some like backstory for the week's energy. Yeah, it's gonna be work for sure. And then I'll pull the main cards, lay them all face down to start. And the next step in the reading will be turning to the shadow cards, the cards at the bottom of the decks after shuffling, representing the energy bringing us to the week. Following that, I'll flip over the main oracle and advice cards one by one to reveal the like overseeing energy. And then I'll be talking about the astrology for each day of the week and pulling tarot cards as we go for that. And so, thanks so much for being here. I'm excited to look into this week's energy with you. Yay. Oh yeah, the card backs look so good together. I felt like the Wisdom of Trees was kind of it was the last deck to join the collection, but oh my god, it's looking like incredible. Look at this. Yes. I had just used that one for, what did did I use that one for? Our last quarter moon in Virgo circle on the Patreon. And it worked really well. So yay. Let's get right into it. Starting with the cut cards, the initial energy of the week. Beautiful. We start with number 55, Palo Santo Guardian. And that's a really interesting keyword for the South Node and Pluto energy on this card. There will be, yes, the replay will be up. So yeah, there's definitely a lot coming up from the past for review to help us attune more deeply to the energy of transformation that is becoming possible. But how nice to receive confirmation that we're protected in that process. We're ready for this change. 5 is the number of change. 55 is the angel number that supports that. So this is a really important time of transition. No wonder I felt so loudly called to get back to this week to guide us into the future with as much hope as possible. And so next we have number 9, Chamomile, Inner Peace with the sun and the moon. That's so interesting because this is the new moon week. That's when the sun and the moon come together. In Sagittarius, in Moonology, the phrase for the new moon in Sagittarius is luck is on your side. So believe it. Prioritize your peace. It is winter. We're meant to be resting at this point, recharging. Number 6, Sage, Blessing with the moon and Jupiter. So there is a very expansive energy coming in. How interesting that we have both Palo Santo and Sage, which are used to cleanse energy. Sage is to remove negativity, and Palo Santo is to welcome in positive energy. So it's happening. This is this really important, push-pull, transition time. And number 2, St. John's wort, Radiance, with straight up the sun there. So look at you. This reminds me of the Colors of the Wind song in Pocahontas or something. But there is really important energy being cleared out. I feel especially with Mars moving into Capricorn. Because, yeah, Mars in Sagittarius is kind of it feels like a lot of ideas coming up, but not knowing which energy to direct those in, where Capricorn is helping us whoa, lock it down, focus. And the future pile, yes, is number 8, Bobinsana, Trust, with the moon and Jupiter. So there are some major dreams awakening, the energy we need to make those more tangible at this point. And the past pile is 47, Skullcap, Stillness with Pluto and Saturn. So it's definitely been challenging. But a part of those challenges was meant to get us to come to a full stop. Like me taking the break I needed, listening to how burnt out I was feeling, until I felt the readiness to come back, to bring the energy to get back in action. And that's exactly what is happening for you this week as well. Hooray! So what's our main card for the week from the Herbal Astrology Oracle? Now, Queen of the Sun Oracle. I love this deck. Stacey DeMarco decks are some of my favorites, but this is a particularly gorgeous one, and it is so cool. It has cards for each of the 8 spokes, or maybe 4 of them. I can't remember. Spokes on the Wheel of the Year. It's really good. It's really cool. And I actually have a copy of this available at the bookstore if you are local and interested. And so the cut card from this deck is number 7, Solar Cycle 7, Will. And what a perfect keyword for the week that Mars moves into Capricorn. How fascinating. So you're really figuring out what you want with a capital W, and are mustering the energy you need to persevere towards that ultimately. Yeah. And so we have 18, Flora, Fertility. So really do listen to those ideas that are coming through. Realize that oh my God, 2025 spring did not feel like a spring. But 2026's will. There will be so much forward motion building by then. And number 8, Solar Cycle 8, Contentment. So this week's energy is actually very much about just coming back to that sense of inner peace, of contentment with your lot. It sounds so maybe Maybe it doesn't. But this is a really cool week to do some like almost like gratitude practices for noticing what is going right and for assessing what you really are ready to like commit to at a much deeper energetic level, because 24 Sulis synergy. It's happening. There's so much that is finally able to actually start coming together in much more tangible ways. So the future piles, number 12, Queen of the Sun. Yes, power. I love when the card from the front of the box comes out. I feel like that's so special. But this week is here to empower you. There is such important energy coming together between Mars moving into Capricorn, the new moon in Sagittarius, Mercury direct in Sagittarius, a much different flavor coming in. And how neat, after that Guardian card splitting the Herbal Astrology Oracle, but the past pile is number 20, Sekhmet, protection. You are protected. Sekhmet is the wounded healer. So you're doing such important integration, realizing that like in the least like toxic positivity way possible, your wounds are your strengths. Oh my god. So what's our main card from Queen of the Sun Oracle? There. Wisdom of trees. And we start with giant redwood growth. Look at that. It's time. Growth is becoming possible. That's so neat how that's reinforcing the like really strong themes that were already coming through. And we have Ginkgo Memory. This was a really prominent card when I was using this deck for the last quarter moon in Virgo for the Patreon moon circle last week. Like, there is so much coming up from the past, naturally, because we're at the very end of these huge transits that we've been under for years. Saturn has been in Pisces for like roughly the past 2.5, 3 years. Neptune has been in Pisces for the past 15 years. Like... And then Uranus in Taurus, Uranus is like an 8-year transit. So there's a lot of really old, heavy stuff that's finally being released, like, soon. Good. And Hawthorne Magic Reverse. This is so interesting. It's so, like, yeah, fascinating when you use decks close together. The same cards tend to come out. But yeah, an important thing that we're, like, reviewing this week is what has had us feeling disconnected from our magic, not feeling like showing up for like magical things like cosmic change. And bristlecone kind persistence reversed. So there are also important like patterns that need to be released at this point, because we're aware that those were a huge part of what was holding us back. And so the future pile is you, regeneration reversed, but going upright. By the energy of white mulberry harmony. Look at that. I love the yew regeneration card. Yew trees are associated with Hecate, one of the main goddesses that I work with. And so what's regenerating is our willingness to choose a path, like acceptance that we are at a huge crossroads, really to deal with the past pile, Monterey Pine, purpose reversed. What has had us feeling disconnected from our sense of purpose, so that that can be reinstated. And we can really work with that as all these major planets move into fire and air signs, Aries and Gemini, in 2026 to bring some major full speed ahead energy. So, what is our main card from Wisdom of Trees Oracle for the week? Ah. Oh. All right. 2 cards want to come out of that one. Now the tarot deck, the Elemental Power Tarot. I love this deck. It is so cool. It's a pip deck. So all the minor cards are just like 10 pentacles or something. But the majors are incredible. They're so good. It's like, yeah. Do I have favorite decks? I have like almost 400 decks at this point, so it's hard to say, but I love this one. And so we start with the 6 of Cups. Aw! That's the card of nostalgia. Yes, past memories, which is a really strong theme this week. But also, like, inner child energy. Remembering our bigger dreams for ourselves. And the card on the other side of the split, interesting, is the Devil, which is associated with Capricorn energy. There's so much Capricorn energy coming in this week. Not only Mars and the Sun moving into Capricorn, but the Moon will also be transiting Capricorn. So this is this really important time for digging deep, remembering your bigger dreams for yourself, and committing to those like wholeheartedly. Like believing that the energy coming in 2026 is here to like move time and space for things that we had like kind of let go of being possible, actually coming back around into like full on potential for possibility. Yes. And so, beautiful. We have Temperance. Also, there's a ton of Sagittarius energy this week. This is such a beautiful Temperance card too. It's like the African violet and stuff. But the Temperance card is about like spiritual equilibrium, inner equilibrium, like really making sure you're living your life philosophy, challenging yourself to believe in expansion almost radically, having like, yeah, extreme faith in the process. And that's actually really interesting. This is one of the cards that I associate with my yoga practice, which I'd also been majorly off of. And I got on my mat this morning and did it. So I'm super proud of myself, feeling like I'm like back in the saddle again. And next, yeah, we have the Ace of Wands. There is so much spark of fresh energy in this week's reading and this week's astrology. So neat. And the Hanged Man reversed. This is such a neat Hanged Man card. When it's like the way up, the forest seat is upside down. But the Hanged Man reversed is like springing into action. Things becoming clear, actually becoming quite upright, because you have been percolating. You have been allowing the ideas to come through, and now they're here to be worked with. And next, the King of Wands reversed, going upright. So it is this like major step up time. You're like feeling the energy. You are ready to claim mastery of what you understand your passion to be. Such interesting themes of like, yeah, like reclaiming your sense of purpose this week. And the Two of Pentacles reversed. So there are still things that are out of balance, but you're aware of what those are. And that's actually going upright as well. So there is this readiness to like get juggling in favor of the like level of expansion you've been wanting to see. Started to doubt, but important sign for arriving this week that you are thinking in the right direction, and it's totally happening. So the future pile is Judgment reversed. So really letting go of what's been holding you back from that sense of like capacity to self-resurrect. It's intermingling with the energy of the Sun card. So there's important like creative sparks happening. Like, yes, you really are on the right track with like a particular creative idea, something to do with those long-held dreams for yourself, and this like true sense that you really are transcending past boundaries at this point. And then how neat that the Emperor is on top of that chunk, which is that important energy that all the planets are going to be moving into to help you step it up and really like pull it together. So the past pile is the Ten of Wands reversed. Yet another strong theme this week of laying down old burdens. This interesting fringe theme of like protecting your energy, coming to that place of inner peace and contemplation that, yeah, sets you up better energetically than you otherwise would have been if you were still like, what? Like, I don't know, floundering like this freaking 2025 year. But yeah, so much is coming together to support you in getting on your way. So, what is our best advice for the week ahead? Boop. All right. The shadow cards, the energy bringing us through the week. And we start with 22, Dragon Saja Transfiguration, absolutely, with Mars and Pluto. That is so interesting. I'd have to look back to remember when I stopped doing Cosmic Church, but I could like specifically remember when we had the Mars-Pluto square. Mars was in Scorpio, Pluto was and still is in Aquarius. That was when like everything fell apart for me. And the general consensus among everyone I was talking to was that was like this really like, yeah, everything got super messed up at that point. But almost like the Tower card, which is this is a very similar image to that, it laid everything out. and gave us the chance to like sort through the pieces to figure out what we actually want to be building in our lives, building our lives around, where 22 is the master number of the builder. Yeah. I was just talking about this. Number 8, the solar cycle 8, that contentment card. And I'm so glad that came back up, because the first time it went by, I noticed the dog on it, but I didn't really talk about it. But part of what you're committing to building your life around is something that deeply like supports your contentment and your like loyalty to your own deserving of that is a really important factor in the decisions you're making right now. Whoa. And so Hornbeam, strength reversed. Yeah, there is still recharging that needs to be done. You're aware of that. Thankfully, in a way, it's winter now, where like if we were all living according to the actual seasons, this would be a rest time, a like downtime. So part of what we're doing right now is carving out whatever time we can for that kind of thing, because again, deserve it. And the Page of Swords, there's important like mindset shifts happening in favor of really like locking in on these new ideas, this fresh perspective you've gained about what you really want to be moving towards. Yay. And so the main oracle cards. And we start with 36 Coca, Foresight. And that is such an interesting card to come up. Hello! Because, again, we are in this, like, review time where those major planets, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus, all retrograded back into their previous signs before they'll be going direct, and many of them actually are already direct, but moving back into Aries and Gemini. We had a taste of all of those energies earlier in the year, but by the time they move back into those signs, we'll know what we're doing in a much bigger way. We've been given foresight into what those transits will look and feel like already. So that's why this is such an important time of review and figuring out which patterns really support what we want to be seeing grow. Gorgeous. And so next we have, number 40, Flares. The unexpected. So look at this energy coming in to really like blast out any lingering like doubt and like expect the unexpected in a really positive way. And then 2 cards from Wisdom of Trees. We have Baobab, Survival. And that like tracks. Like, this was such a hard year. I can't even like understate that. Where you may really have found yourself just in total like survival mode. But that got you that much clearer on the energy of Olive, sanctity, what actual like peace means to you, what is sacred to you, and how can that really inform your ultimate like plan for what you're going to be like delivering in the new calendar year. Whoa. I love our little owl here. I always associate owls with the goddess Athena, who is the goddess of strategy. And that's exactly what this energy right now is all about. More than anything, it's about planning, mapping it out. It is still, we are just coming up on the beginning of actual winter. So it's not really a forward motion time yet. It's more about just like really pondering, again, what you want to be seeing take greater shape. And that's the perfect application for your energy right now. Yay. And so our best advice for the week as a whole is the Tower reversed. So like all is not lost. That's so fascinating. That intermingles with that Devil card that was on the other side of the split. I usually associate the Devil reversed as being the like worst facet of that energy. That's when you're like slipping into past patterns, really needing to reattune to your spiritual equilibrium. Where when it's upright, it's about reclaiming your power, setting those goals, and really figuring out how you're going to be making it up the mountain. So that can be beautiful confirmation that a lot of the like unexpected, like tower-esque baloney that came up, especially under that Mars Pluto square back in, when was that? October. It's passing over. You did the inner work. You like integrated the lessons. And now the way forward really is being found. Exciting. And so the week as a whole. Monday, December 15th, as I've been saying 100,000 times this reading, Mars moves into Capricorn at 3:34 a.m. So immediately that is an important, like, grounded shift in the energy, getting you more open than ever to figuring out your bigger goals for yourself and how you can best be nurturing those energetically in the most practical, like, long-term perseverance-oriented way possible. And then, speaking of Scorpio Aquarius squares, the moon in Scorpio squares Pluto in Aquarius at 4:24 a.m. Whoa. So there's this big, like, review of the friction that came up in the not so distant past. But this time we have Mars and Capricorn on our side to help us make sense of it and use this as like a sparking to act on the innovations that have been percolating through and figuring out how to best direct our energy in the face of challenge. So what do the tarot cards have to say about that? The Three of Pentacles reversed. That's so interesting. I wondered if the Three of Pentacles was going to come up, and it did. But yeah, so the real emphasis here is just regaining your balance, proving to yourself that you can juggle. You do know what you want to be filling your time with. And like the rest, like almost like the teamwork element of it will come through later. Monday is all about just regaining your footing. Okay. And so, Tuesday, December 16th, the moon in Scorpio trines the North Node in Pisces. The North Node is the point of life purpose. And where it's in Pisces right now, there's this important, like, collective background energy of, again, remembering your bigger dreams for yourself. Like, radically starting to believe in what you've always wanted to do with, like, your life. Whoa! My natal North Node is in Pisces, so that's a big part of why that's such a theme in my readings for people. But yeah, important flow arriving to, like, reawaken your passion for what you actually want to be doing. So that's 1:45 a.m. Then at 9:01 p.m., way on the other end of the day, on Tuesday, Juno, the asteroid of commitment, also marriage, in Sagittarius, squares Saturn in Pisces. So yeah, a heaping dose of friction here to, like, challenge your commitment, to ask you, like, is this really what you want long term? Interesting. So that could come up as a major theme in any, like, serious relationships, but in general, you're like, yeah, commitments are being super laid out for review. Saturn is the planet of challenge and obstacles. So any, like, knots, any, like, snags will definitely be being illuminated, but you're asked to, like, yeah, go deep into your heart to figure out, like, what you really want. And that's been a theme in this reading as well. Fascinating. The moon in Scorpio trines Jupiter retrograde in Cancer at 10:46 p.m. Ooh, so we have some grand water train energy swirling on Tuesday. So, like, yeah, your heart is open. Your heart is telling you, like, messages on Tuesday. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, of abundance, of satisfaction. It's comfortable in Cancer. So there's important information coming in about the direction things are going to be taking. And there's that energy of protection again. Like, the vibes are helping you figure out that square so you can flow in the right direction, the direction that is best for you. And then, at long last, Mercury in Sagittarius exits post-shadow. It's fully direct. So things will be becoming a lot more straightforward from here on. But yeah, those last, like, minutes of the post-shadow could feel messy. Trust the process. So our card for Tuesday, December 16th. Oh, that's so funny. The Magician reversed, which is Mercury retrograde energy. And the Eight of Cups reversed. Okay, so like hold out. Because for the most of Tuesday, it could feel very murky. Like there will be challenges, curveballs being thrown your way to get you really defining your sense of purpose. What a strong theme this week. And being asked to like take this huge leap of faith on the fact that things will be changing, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment on Tuesday. Ew. So Wednesday, December 17th, the Sun in Sagittarius squares Saturn in Pisces at 12:33 a.m., where the Sun and Saturn are like major planets. We'll be feeling this one. This will be rippling out over the whole week. We've already been feeling this, like even right now in the past couple days. But the Sun square Saturn, there's definitely a lot of friction. There's a lot of challenge coming up. But it's really important for that also theme of illuminating what your bigger goals for yourself actually are. So you can transcend everything that you're aware has been holding you back from that. The moon in Scorpio is apogee as of 2:09 a.m. That means zoomed in. So like extra influencing, extra like tugging at our heart and soul strings. So there's definitely, like a lot of pressure coming up midweek. But that is meant to, again, get you crystal clear on what you want to be committing to expansion-wise, where the Sun in Sagittarius conjuncts Juno in Sagittarius, which was also highlighted on Tuesday at 2:18 a.m. So yeah, a lot coming up to get you reviewing what you've been doing, what you want to be doing. And the moon in Scorpio trines Saturn in Pisces at 3:30 a.m. So, whoa, a lot of like overnight activity here. This would be a really important night to be listening to whatever comes up in your like dream world. And the moon in Scorpio opposes Uranus retrograde in Taurus at 9:25 a.m. So here's the real stretch to like fully believe that change can happen. That like the Tower energy can be reversed as our huge major theme for the week as a whole. And the moon in Scorpio trines Neptune in Pisces at 11:24 a.m. So Wednesday morning is an important moment for major integration, for really laying out like how far you've come, what you want to be seeing like resurrect in your life. And you're given a little bit of extra time to ponder that as the moon goes void of course for an hour and 14 minutes before moving into Sagittarius at 12:38 p.m. So when the moon is void of course, that's when it's floating unaspected between signs. It's kind of like a nothing time. The card for the void of course moon in Moonology Oracle cards is nothing will come of this situation. So anything weird that comes up in void of courses, don't put any stock into, but it is a really cool time for just like, integrating, pondering, processing. But once the moon moves into Sagittarius, it's kind of another important facet of this like full steam ahead energy that's starting to roll in. You're feeling much more expansive. You are like ready to like thread some arrows and let them fly. And the moon in Sagittarius sextiles Pluto in Aquarius at 5:19 p.m. So that's a much more harmonious energy. The transfiguration is underway. And you're ready to like seize the opportunities that are finally starting to present to act on those innovations that have been coming through, to literally like change your life, embrace the changes you've been aware needed to be made. And the energy is actually lining up in support of that now. Yay. And so our card for Wednesday, December 17th. Temperance reversed. Interesting. Intermingling with the Death card. So this is this important transformation moment. You are fully aware, especially with all that overnight activity, of what's been throwing off your equilibrium, what's been like separating you from feeling like you are like fully living your life philosophy. And this is this really important moment in the letting go of what no longer serves process. All the pressure. And so Thursday, December 18th, the moon in Sagittarius conjuncts Mercury, fully direct in Sagittarius at 6:01 a.m. So already a much more expansive flavor, feeling like this readiness to act on your ideas in a way that hasn't felt possible in like a long time. The moon in Sagittarius squares the north node in Pisces at 1:23 p.m. So this important like friction being like, is this what you want? Like the challenge to really believe in those bigger dreams you hold for yourself. And two Venus aspects. Venus in Sagittarius trine Chiron retrograde in Aries at 5:17 p.m. How interesting after we saw that Sekhmet card. Chiron is the wounded healer. It's the like point in your chart that represents like your unhealed wound, but also the ways that you integrate that and like are able to share your experience almost. Chiron is also a teacher sort of energy. But Venus trine Chiron, important heart healing happening as a result of all that reviewing you've been doing about, again, what's been holding you back at the heart level and how you can transcend that at this point. And then Venus in Sagittarius quincunxes Jupiter retrograde in Cancer at 9:45 p.m. So really important workarounds being found that do help you get back into like greater expansion mode than has felt possible for a while. Especially with Venus being the planet of love, there's so much Venus-Juno activity this week. So important like relationship energy happening one way or another. Well, what's our card for Thursday, December 18th? The Four of Swords. So this important level of peace arriving. You really have clearly defined what like actual balance looks and feels like in your life, and the way is being cleared for you to expand into that in a much bigger way. So whatever's transpiring really is helping you like, whoa, breathe out, get the like almost rest you need. So anything that's been like, throwing you off, not being able to rest, that is really being cleared out in favor of much like smoother sailing. Usually I'd associate that with the Six of Swords, but I guess that's the Chiron energy present in that day. Friday, December 19th. The moon in Sagittarius trines Chiron retrograde in Aries at 10:18 a.m. So a follow-up to that Venus trine Chiron energy. But yeah, even more of this like healthy, healing, like flow arriving. You are feeling more motivated, where that is a fire trine. Yay, the energy you need is finally present. The moon in Sagittarius conjuncts Venus in Sagittarius. There's so much like awesome Sagittarius energy happening this week. So super clarity on what your heart wants, like what you want, where Venus in Sagittarius is very like independent energy. That's at 12:19 p.m. The moon in Sagittarius squares Saturn in Pisces at 4:04 p.m. So again, this important friction, realizing what it's going to take to rise to the challenge of stepping into that sense of purpose that you'd felt so disconnected from, but are finally believing in again. And then the sun in Sagittarius quincunxes Uranus retrograde in Taurus at 7:34 p.m. So yet another energy of workaround. Basically welcoming in these like major, ultimately stabilizing changes, because you've become so aware of what you're no longer comfortable with, and your willingness to transcend that is strong. And how perfect that brings us up to the new moon in Sagittarius being exact at 9:43 p.m. That is the sun in Sagittarius joining with the moon in Sagittarius to remind you that luck really is on your side. This is such expansive energy. This really is the huge door being opened to what the new calendar year is going to be holding for you. This is the last new moon of the year. New moons are all about like the seed that's been planted beginning to finally grow. And then the moon in Sagittarius squares Neptune in Pisces at 11:41 p.m. So all these Sagittarius Pisces squares, Sagittarius and Pisces are arguably the most like dreamery signs. So when they square each other, the challenge is not to run away from the vision. The challenge is to commit more than ever, to really challenge yourself, to like believe that you can make these leaps and bounds that are going to make those bigger dreams actually possible. And they are. And so it is. So what's our card for Friday, December 19th? New moon in Sagittarius day. And we have the Lovers, which more than anything is the card of commitment to your path. Commitment to like the major life choices that really allow you to like shine in all your multifacetedness. This could literally represent too, like where there's been a big theme this week of like relationship stuff coming up one way or another. But Friday brings some really important resolution, especially in the form of you finally feeling like that like sense of living your life philosophy has been reinstated. You became aware of what that means, and that makes you like more magnetic to dynamics with others that can actually work. Yay. So Saturday, December 20th, the moon enters Capricorn at 12:52 a.m. Immediately getting that like practicality hat even more secured. It got put on Monday with Mars entering Capricorn, but here's some like follow-up Capricorn energy, and thus begins the cascade actually of Capricorn energy coming in. The moon in Capricorn conjuncts Mars in Capricorn at 8:42 a.m. So Saturday, December 20th feels productive. I suppose we're coming up on like Christmas week. So this is like a really nice indicator that you'll be feeling like you have figured out everything that maybe had felt at loose ends. All is not lost. And things are actually stabilizing beautifully. That energy of teamwork that needed work this week is feeling resolved. I like how I keep saying resolved and resolution. Resolution. Oh, resolution. New Year's resolutions. That's so interesting. Mercury in Sagittarius squares the North Node in Pisces at 11:59 a.m. So yet another Sagittarius Pisces square. But this is where, yeah, you have it all laid out. You really are like putting in the mental work to figure out where you're at with your sense of purpose and how you want to be applying it in ways that better support the bigger dreams you hold for yourself. And then the sun in Sagittarius squares Neptune in Pisces at 9:02 p.m. So yet even more the Sagittarius Pisces energy. But challenging yourself to believe in those dreams. To like really dig deep to source the faith that activates the whole process, where Neptune is the planet of creativity, of spirituality. It can also be fantasies and illusions. So there's definitely a lot of pressure this week to stick with it, to define the course you want to be following through on, backed up beautifully by all this Capricorn energy. But like, that's a lot. That's scary. Like, considering, like, doing something wild, like opening a bookstore and, like, it's not easy. It's not easy to, like, deviate from the, like, societal hamster wheel. But that's a big part of what you're really starting to seriously consider this week. How you can, like, go your own way. But, like, really. And so, the card for Saturday, December 20th. The Five of Wands reversed. Talk about this, like, resolution energy. Talk about, like, past, like, embittered, like, passionate conflicts that did not feel great. Too many cooks in the kitchen sort of energy. Really being laid to rest. in favor of Four of Wands energy coming through. Four of Wands is like 11-11 energy. The energy of like total engagement and commitment to the passion that makes it all happen. Amazing. So really good energy, like that starts coming in from like Thursday on. Thank goodness. So you will make it through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I promise. I'm glad you watched Cosmic Church so you can be aware that the first of the week starts off on like a weird foot, but it does smooth out as the week unfolds. And so Sunday, December 21st, overnight, we have the moon in Capricorn, sextile the North Node in Pisces. Immediately better energy. You feel so proud of yourself for transcending that sense of like, oh my God, can I actually like do this? Yes, you can. Capricorn and Pisces working together is such amazing energy because Capricorn is like super practical. Pisces is like super dreamy. And this is the energy you need to bring that dreaminess into tangible reality. Your sense of purpose is feeling reinstated at this point in the week. So then we have Venus in Sagittarius square Saturn in Pisces at 1:08 a.m. So there's definitely this dance between can I do it and this like heart-centered knowing with a capital K that yes, you can and you will. And 2026 is bringing in the energy you need to see that through in a much bigger way. But this is just the part where you're doing all the inner like that. Jupiter in Cancer squares Chiron retrograde in Aries at 6:09 a.m. So this is big time like rip off a particular band-aid that has kept you from diving headfirst into that expansion process. There is like, there's definitely a lot of old stuff coming up for review. Like almost picturing like boulders on a path that you're being pushed to like actually remove. So that's a really important part of this week's energy. That makes me think of the Coca Foresight card. The challenge is to think long term and actively do the work to unblock what's been keeping you from expanding in the ways that you are now fully aware you want to. And then the sun moves into Capricorn at 11:03 a.m. It is the winter solstice. It's the shortest day of the year. So what does that mean? From here on, the days get longer. Thank goodness. It's been dark. But yay, the sun being in Capricorn. Talk about like a third, even bigger layer of practicality, perseverance, awareness of your goals, and the grounded energy you need to get yourself there, to like fully define them so that they can actually work. The moon in Capricorn opposes Jupiter retrograde in Cancer at 9:26 p.m. So this important tension showing you where you're at in that expansion process and what like ingredients need to be added to better further it. The Capricorn Cancer axis is like work-life balance sort of energy. So you're becoming aware of how that can be sort of restored. Ooh. And what a perfect energy to bring us into. Basically, like if you have kids, like they're out of school now. Oh, thank goodness. Or are they? I think some people actually have to go right up to the... Anyway, here in Atlantic Canada, the kids got off on Friday, the 19th. But anyway, this is almost like this energy of relaxing into the holidays, doing your best to like source the contentment, not contention. What a funny word slip. Settling into the contentment that like makes it all just feel good, like warm and fuzzy. And then the moon in Capricorn squares Chiron retrograde in Aries at 9:34 p.m. So Sunday evening, December 21st. Could bring up some like pre-holiday like tizzies. So do your best to lean into the like place you felt you were at with your healing on Thursday. Like almost on Thursday, really like savor how good things feel and try on Sunday evening to attune back to that. Like, remember what had you feeling that way, because that will be an important thing to, like, challenge yourself to do to keep the peace or something. What's our card for Sunday, December 21st? Judgment reversed! Exactly! Oh my god, we saw that one during the shuffling process. Like, literally lay your judgments to rest. Really do believe that all is not lost. And however you can, attune to that sun card energy. Like, be willing to bring the creativity that makes it all work. It's like digging deep to decide to approach things differently, to consciously decide to transcend past boundaries, to shed old patterns, and realize that's a huge part of what's allowing so much to begin to grow at this point. Ooh. And so what are our higher self cards? What are the messages of hope moving forward through the week? And we have number 21, Nettle, action. Yet another Mars-Pluto card. That's so interesting. But look at that. There is so much energy coming in to support you in taking action. How interesting that is. Number 21, the number of the world card. So there really are old cycles closing out. And what's fueling that is number 5, solar cycle 5, desire. Your desires for what you want to be stepping into. These important like doors are opening. There are some really like key sextiles. I think there's only 2 sextiles this week. Sextiles are the energy of like opportunity, of like opening, of like harmony. And they are the moon in Sagittarius sextile, Pluto in Aquarius. So important like transformation happening in order to open up those opportunities. And then the moon in Capricorn sextile, the North Node in Pisces. This like, yeah, opportunity to seize your sense of purpose and really get those desires feeling that much more tangible. It is a challenge, but you're like here for it. You're showing up. Yeah. Showing up. Yes. And then pomegranate, the inner journey. Because you really have been like through the underworld recently. It has not been easy. And good on you for like still being here, for like surviving the like incredible challenges that came up over the past couple months. Like, dang. And the world. Whoa! So much cohesion in these higher self cards here. But look at that. The portal is opening. You have come to the end of a particularly challenging cycle. And everything is locking into place in favor of you taking this huge leap of faith into this entirely new chapter, this new way of doing things, this activation of your fullest potential yet, which is really saying something. Amazing. And so that's our reading for the week. I hope you're feeling like motivated and inspired. If you're not yet, the motivation is coming, especially even as soon as Monday with Mars entering Capricorn at last. That's my natal Mars placement, so I'm so here for it. Yes, we're ready. But yeah, before we part, let's do my beautiful anchoring prayer that I do at the end of my yoga practice every morning, including today. I finally got back on my mat. Yes, challenging ourselves to implement the patterns that we know support our success. You want to take a few deep breaths. I call upon all beings who love us unconditionally. Thank you for surrounding, supporting, guiding, and protecting us always. Oh my gosh. Thank you for supporting us in expanding time, space, and our own energy so that we may be of greatest service to ourselves, our loved ones, our communities, and the world. Thank you for blessing us with the energies of courage, patience, acceptance, hope, focus, discernment, trust, surrender, compassion, forgiveness, and release, from all doubts and resentments, as well as openness to give and receive love in all forms, even during times of greatest suffering. Thank you for sending the energies of peace and collective liberation to every corner of the cosmos. Thank you for protecting our health, wealth, and happiness always, and for extending the benefits of this prayer to the highest good of all. And so it is. If you're not already, make sure you're following me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Blind Forest Tarot over there. On Instagram, it's blind.forest.tarot. I don't think I've had a imposter in a while, but yeah, that's the real one. Yeah, if you are interested in a year ahead reading or any reading with me in general, the link to my Shopify is below. Yeah, that's it for this week. Yeah, thanks for showing back up for Cosmic Church. I'll be doing this regularly again because I feel like it's important. Yes. Love you all so much. Sending all the love, hope, belief in your dreams for yourself your way. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.